In this video, you're going to see Jay Tarzia, a professional butcher, demonstrate how to trim deer meat, cut it up into steaks, pretty much finishing up the entire butchering process. This is a video in a series, so if you missed the beginning of this series, check out our playlist, Butcher Demonstrates How to Butcher a Deer Properly, and enjoy this episode watching Jay turn these big pieces of meat into beautiful table fare.
And we'll just get right to the trimming and making some steaks. So this is another thing too where a good sharp knife is good to have. It makes life a lot easier. Now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make steaks out of all of this here, except for the eye round. I'm just going to toss over to the ground. You can make stew out of this, or you can make a little roast out of it if you wanted to. I'm not a big fan of either. So I'm just going to throw it into the grind. So what I want to do now is just get it's going to be like filleting. That's all we're doing here. Like this silver skin here too, I take it off and I throw it away. I get rid of it. So this has a tendency to carry that gamey taste in it also. So like I said, if you have a good sharp knife, you can do that. Okay, so now we're just throwing away silver skin. So we'll throw these over for grind. The rest of it's not bad. The heavy silver is gone. Take this off here. Now what I want to do is I want to take all this fat out. If your knife is pretty good, you should just be able to get up underneath it and just kind of push it off. You don't really have to cut it. Nice, clean, solid meat. We'll try to square everything up so we can make steaks. Now, a lot of people are going to take this thing and cut it into steaks like this. That is absolutely the wrong thing to do. If you can see this, Austin, you see the lines here?
Yep.
All right. You want to cut across the grain. Don't ever cut this way because you're going to have something tough. You're not going to like it. But you can even take a tough cut of meat. If you cut it the right way, it's going to eat like butter. So take that like this. The grain is going this way. I'm going to cut this way against it. Little thin steaks. You can pan fry them. If you want them thicker, you can make them thicker. I don't like them thicker. Leave them just like this. Nice little thin steaks. You can make this into cube steaks if you have a cuber. Or you can make a little roast out of it, you can make stew meat out of it, you can do whatever you want out of it. Cube steaks are okay, but the only problem with a little deer like this, it's not worth getting the machine dirty for a handful of steaks.
We usually cook that thing like a roast.
Yeah.
But this is a nice idea because you can keep it good.
Right. But then on top of that, you can, instead of cooking a whole roast in the oven, now you can take these, throw these in a frying pan with whatever you want, a minute or two or whatever, and it's all done, and it's for yourself.
You make a few more meals too,
Right.
Stretch it a bit more.
And then, you can use, if you wanted to do stir fry, I saw some people on the thing the other day making pulled venison instead of pulled pork, which I don't know how that would taste.
Yeah, I wonder.
It's good for them. They're experimenting with it. So you have all these nice little steaks. All right, this is your top butt. I took the cap off of it already. This would also be a spoon roast if it was beef. And you can make this a little roast for yourself if you wanted to, or not. And you do the same thing. The grain is this way. You want to cut across it on an angle. So just give yourself a little cut.
Looks fancy, man. Almost like you guys know what you're doing here.
Yeah, it was a couple times. Okay, so this is the sirloin steaks now. This one's kind of ratty, so we'll throw it over here, but the rest of them, they look pretty good. All right, so here's the inside. The top round, this is where your top round London broils come from. Top round roast beef if we were doing beef. You could make this a roast if you wanted to. Like I said, I don't personally care for roast myself, so we're gonna make steaks out of this. I'm gonna pull that heavy fat off, and if you have an area that's been exposed to the air, like this, it gets brown, black, discolored. It's just been exposed. Nothing wrong with it, but I throw it away because it looks kind of nasty in the ground meat, because you can still see that in there. So we'll take all that fat. Now, like I said, just get your knife under it. You don't really have to cut. You can just push, and most of that will come right off without any effort. Okay.
Jay, the nature of all these different hindquarter cuts, are any of them better for any style of cooking, or are they all kind of the same?
The way I'm cutting them right now, small and thin, pan fry, stir fry, people you call minute steaks, you do that. I don't personally like any thick cuts, even on the beef. I'm not a big fan of thick. Like I said, you could do, if you wanted to roast this like this, you could. You got to make sure it's rare. Yeah, it's all up to you. Mainly when I'm doing venison like that, just like grab and go kind of things. Just throw it in the pan, do it up. Or if I feel like making a stew, these are perfect for it, because by the time they're rendered down, they're going to be little chunks anyway like that. And I'm not a big ground venison fan either. I like, we don't have enough, fortunately, to go to the smokehouse this year to make all our stuff out of. But, we'll clean all this up and make ground. We might even make sausage, depends how much we have. But if we don't have enough for either, we just grind it up, add a little pork to it, and then just do whatever. But it's all personal preference on what you like to cook. If you want stuff for grilling, I can show you. I'll take this cap off, this inside here. There's really nothing to it. It's kind of ugly, it's a little tough, so just throw that into the trim. And that'll be a good place for that to go. Same thing with this, you want to trim it all up. Now underneath here, there's a big artery you want to take away. This will be your femoral artery here. So
that's what, when you shoot a deer accidentally in the butt,
right? Or,
that's what kills them, right?
Exactly. Like that. So, all right. Now again, you can see the lines here, the grain of the meat. You want to cut just the opposite of that, and cut these on an angle. So you could make this a little roast if you wanted to, or you could make some cube steaks out of it. Or you can make stew meat out of it. We're gonna make top round steaks or top London broils if you want it. Now, the only difference between a London broil and a top round steak is the thickness. That's the only thing different. So these we're gonna cut thin, like that. You're gonna cut on an angle. And if you wanted to, you could remove this little piece here. I'll just do that right now because it's almost off anyway. Get rid of that. You can use that for stew or cube steaks or some stir fry if you wanted to. I don't know. So if you wanted to go thicker on the steaks, you could do something like that. If you're interested in that. I don't like the thicker steaks, so because venison to me has got to be rare. I don't like well done venison. I don't like rare venison. I like medium, but it's that fine line where it's medium rare 1 minute, then well done 2 seconds later. So I just like to do this, pan fry and boom, boom, and it's pretty much done. Versus you got to put a little bit more time in there, and it can go either way real quick on you. So I'll make a few of those. So you can look at them.
Any point to doing like a butterflied?
If you wanted to do butterfly, we could do something like this. Now that's butterflied. So it's really pretty much that. It's too small to stuff,
Yeah.
anything like that. Now, the beef is a different story. Got a lot more to work with. So you can leave that like that now. All right. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the hind quarter. Now this is the last piece of the hind. Like I said, the eye round we're not doing nothing with. Just peel that fat off there real quick. And that's all going to go into the grind. Out of all the pieces of the hind quarter, the sirloin tip is probably the best tasting, probably the most tender, but it's also got the most gristle and silver skin in it. So by the time I get done pulling this thing apart, there's really nothing left to it anyway. So if you take...
I'm excited about this one. This one always, I never know how to do this right.
This here, I'm going to go straight down to give me a flat bottom here to work on, so it doesn't roll around on me. I'm going to pull this out of here. Now this is where the thing silver tip comes from. So we're going to take that, and we're going to follow this seam here. Again, you're not going to get this on your first shot. If you can, good for you. Just follow this seam all the way down. Okay. So say about the gristle. There's a lot of gristle in here. A lot of silver skin. And if you don't mind the gamier taste or whatever, leave all that stuff right on there. You don't have to waste your time taking it off. I don't like it, so I'm taking it off. This is why it took me 3 hours to trim out that 85 pounds that we sent over last year. Everything I had looked like that, nice and solid, nice and clean. Take this down. Pull all this stuff out of here.
It's amazing what that knife's doing.
Yeah.
I can see, man, the difference in the sharpness of that knife versus where mine are right now.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is a sharp knife.
Oh, man.
First of all, you're not going to get hurt
Yep.
with a sharp knife. The fatigue on your wrist
Oh,
and
yeah.
shoulders is pretty much gone. And then you're able to do so much more,
Yeah.
finesse-wise than doing all this stuff. So we could take this piece here now, and then we can cut this up also, if you wanted to make steaks. Like I said, all this stuff is, you find the grain and you go just the opposite way on an angle. And you'll be able to feel if you've got it. There'll be no resistance at all. Some more little steaks. Put your finger in there, Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Push it. Go ahead, push it.
Yep.
This goes right through.
Yep.
Now, with this same deer, if I did this a day or two after after we killed her, she wouldn't be able to do anything.
Right.
Couldn't put your finger through it. And it wouldn't have that color. So now this piece here, again, we want to get rid of all this stuff. Some heavy tendons over here. Want to get rid of.
I've always cleaned my steaks like this. And it feels good to see, like, it was all worth it, because, boy, it's a lot of time.
Yeah, it's so much more time than working on the big stuff. That's why, for us to do deer, we would pretty much have to shut down just for deer season.
Oh,
because I'm not going to take someone's deer, even, if it's like this condition where no damage or anything, whack it all up and give you back a box of garbage.
Yeah.
It'd be that's what you're paying us for, to give
Yeah.
you something. That you
Oh
can-
yeah.
There's nothing worse than taking the stuff home and looking at it, and it looks, the same way it went into you.
I told you what happened with my buddy, right? At the other place there. He brought it in there, and that stuff tasted like garbage.
Yeah.
They just cross-cut it all. What Jay's doing here versus what they did. That top sirloin was cut into just steaks, like with all
All that stuff.
all this.
Yeah.
That's what this is, right?
This here, yes.
Is the top sirloin?
This is the silver tip.
Silver tip, yeah. That was cross-cut. All the membrane and everything around it still on it. The whole hind quarter, the whole leg was just big giant steaks.
Yeah.
Cross-cut hind quarter, like they took it to the saw and just went chee.
Yeah, we'll take these hindquarters if we were doing them on the saw, and we'll cut them this way.
The whole round thing,
Right,
yeah, with a hole in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, how do you cook that big gross steak?
I don't know. That's why I don't do that.
Yeah.
We do everything. Even for people I don't know, we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Cleaning them up real nice. We were charging $125.
Oh, man.
People were having a heart attack. Oh, my
I know,
God,
but like,
seriously, it's not too expensive. How much does it cost to turn the lights on? How much does the wrapping paper cost?
Yep.
How much does my time cost?
Yep.
How much is the cleanup and all this other stuff?
That,
And, we have to dispose of all this stuff too. All right. Here's the loin or back strap. The entire thing. We still have the fat on it. So what I'm going to do with this here now is pull this right off. This end here where it attaches to the hindquarters is always going to give you a problem to try to pull off. So just be careful there and just cut that. There. All right. This can all be done by hand. Just pull nice and easy so you don't tear this thing apart. Okay. Now there's no meat here. There's a little bit here. So we'll just take this out. There. Take a little bit of that there. That's pretty much all I'm going to use out of here. Here's the entire loin. This is where a sharp knife is going to come in handy. For the most part, what I normally do when I'm cutting the loins is I'll cut them into 3 pieces, depending how big they are. Like this one here will be 3 pieces, or we'll cut them 4 if it's a bigger deer. But I'm going to strip this whole thing down for you, get rid of the silver skin, and then we're going to cut our chops out of it. And just with the tip of the knife, get us started. There it is. And I'm angling the knife up towards the silver skin and pulling on an angle. Just be very careful. Pretty much pull that right off. Throw that away. A little bit left here. Skin that off. Piece there. Flip this around. Take that piece there. Okay. Flip it over. Take this out. Okay. Now on this thing here, like I said, I normally cut them into chunks. That way they don't get freezer burnt. But since we have a vacuum sealer, we can do all that stuff down. This should be okay. This I'll probably leave whole, this end piece here. So now I'll cut these a little thicker than I will the steaks. But I'm also going to cut them on an angle. This is a really nice deer. Here, try cutting that.
All right. So you're cutting at an angle like this, Jay?
Yep.
Oh yeah, nice.
Right?
And why on the angle?
Because you're going with the grain.
One more there, or
Sure.
leave that whole?
You see how sharp that knife is?
Yeah.
No pulling.
That's
no
cutting right
stretching.
in.
Look at it. It's-
That's beautiful. Oh man.
And now,
Give that a feel.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the tender.
right.
You can feel it's already breaking down.
Yep.
And that's just, I mean, that's beautiful quality. Put that in the pan with, whatever else you're cooking, man.
Yeah.
Quick, easy dinner. Fast food.
Right, and that's exactly what it is. And this here too, it has a nice smell to it. It doesn't have. It smells.
Yeah, just smells like good meat.
It smells like meat, like good stuff. It kind of smells like beef a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it doesn't have that.
I'm getting hungry, man.
Yeah, it doesn't have that.
It's a tartare. Take
Wow,
it right
yeah,
like
you
that.
can have that. I'll never do that. I'll get worms. All right, so we'll leave this whole,
Thanks, Dan.
just in case somebody wants it whole. So we'll leave that. You can pack that up there. Oh, let's do the shoulder. Now the shoulder here.
This is the front shoulder,
This
right?
is the front shoulder. This is the shoulder quad. There's really not much you're going to get out of this thing. Besides some stew or burger, you can make some steaks out of here. But the grizzly stuff, there's a lot here. There's even a lot here more than the sirloin tip. So you can pull all this stuff off. If you wanted to, like right here would be your blade. Make these little blade steaks if you wanted to. This is where on the beef, the blade, shoulder blade steaks would come from, or the flat iron. And this is a good piece too, if you can clean it up good enough.
I have never cleaned a steak from the front. This would be cool to try.
Well, I can tell you something right now. I don't know about venison. They don't usually do anything with the front. But if it's anything like beef, you'll never make a steak out of the rear again. You'll make it all out of the front.
Really?
Yeah. It's like night and day.
Really?
So you could leave that like this if you wanted to, or you can make some blade steaks, which let's try and see how they look. They're going to be miniatures, but that's okay. These are your little blade steaks. And if I was to remove this part here, that would be your flat irons. Obviously, we're not going to do it on this because there's nothing there. All right. So that's pretty much it on the shoulder. Oh, where's the rest of it? There it is. This is the rest of the shoulder. So again, see, it has a lot of nasty stuff in there, which we don't want. And by the time you get done cleaning this thing up, like I said, you pretty much just have stew meat left. You can make some steaks out of it if you manage to get it all out of there. But if you don't mind the silver skin and all that stuff, then you can get a lot of steaks out of here.
Basically, it's the more you can tolerate the gaminess, the more
Yeah,
you can get out of
right,
it.
because believe it or not, everybody is different with their opinions on this stuff. I believe that the silver skin, the fat, have a lot of that flavor in it, which I don't really like. So I try to minimize the amount that goes into our stuff as possible. Some people don't mind it at all, and they don't mind the bone either, the flavor of the bone. I don't care for it on venison. It's got a really strong flavor in it, and it's a whole turn off.
Yeah. I think venison has a good flavor as it is. It's a different flavor. The kids love it, but that's different than gamey, that negative, like, "Ugh, I don't like venison, it's
Right.
a gamey meat"
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, on its own, like, you can smell it.
Yep.
We were just smelling it before. It's nice.
Yep.
It's not overpowering. On some of this stuff here, let's see, like the flank here, some guys will just hack all that stuff up and throw it in there, but,
Yeah.
you can smell it here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Right. So, And that's what I'm talking about, the smell, like earlier in the earlier video. If it smells not right, then just get rid of it. It's fine. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. So that's what I'm going to do with this.
If they find a part that doesn't smell right, like for example, Jay, a lot when you're cutting by like the bullet wound, right?
Right.
A lot of times you'll smell something funky there.
Well, that's all the hemorrhaging in the blood. I mean, they stink, these animals. They have their own smell to them.
Yep.
You know, so that's, you can smell it on the outside. Just imagine what the inside smells like. So, you know, if anything like that happens, like we don't save the flanks, we don't do any of that stuff. We can it. If it doesn't pass your smell test like those steaks did, then throw it away.
And that doesn't mean the whole deer is bad.
No, it
just
doesn't.
means
If it's all like that flank had a little smell to it, funky little smell. Not that it was bad. It was just, you know, from that part of the deer. It could have been from her milk bag, or it could have been from something like that. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is, but now here's the fillet from right on the inside of that meat, and take a smell of that.
yeah, that smells good.
It's fine, and it's right next door to the other.
Yep.
So, you know, it's like I think a snapper turtle. They say there's 7 different flavors in their meat.
Really?
That's what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, if you don't like it, throw it in the garbage, because all it's going to do is taint everything else.
Are you wrapping that?
Yeah, sure.
Or are you doing stew?
You can do those. And like I said, here's the shoulder, and like I said before, it's got so much of this stuff in here. By the time you're really done playing with it, there's not much left to get a few steaks out of. You know, so you can make this into some stew.
That's what we always do. Whatever's too small to steak,
Right.
we just stew meat,
Some stew.
fajita meat, you know.
All
Throw it
that.
in tacos.
You can do all that stuff, and like I said, here's the fillet. We can clean this up a little bit more. And for being in that cooler for 2 weeks there, this is really not bad for exposure.
No, that's not bad
You know?
because of that fat, right?
Because I left that fat on there. So we'll take that out. The meat will be discolored underneath, but it's not bad. It's just the way it goes. I take the exposed stuff off because it's pretty thick. You can feel that, Austin?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You feel
Comes
how-
like jerky,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So we'll just take
The
that
stuff
off.
I aged 2 weeks in the fridge, Jay. It was like shoe leather.
Yeah, it turns into like cardboard.
Yep.
Yeah, all right, so there's your fillet. Like that, it's all cleaned up. We'll just cut that into some stew. I know people are having a heart attack over it, but that's fine. And
All right, Jay. So you've shown us the entire hindquarters, how you turn the entire hindquarter pretty much, except for the shank, into nice, ready-to-cook steaks. I noticed that you cut them all, personally you prefer the thin steak. You cut them all pretty much the same. The only ones you cut a little bit thicker were the back straps.
Right.
And that was because of how they cook up. The
Right.
loin is a little bit different. So the hindquarter, nice thin steaks. We've got them over there ready to be packaged, and people can use those in stir fries. They can cook them up just like any regular
you can
steak.
do anything you want with it, anything at all. You can pan prime as is, or you could throw them into a stew because, you know, they'll break down smaller pieces
Yeah.
very fine. You can marinate them. You can smoke them.
Awesome.
You could even make jerky out of them if you wanted.
If you
to.
wanted.
Right.
The front shoulder, something that was new to me. I've never seen any steaks come out of a front shoulder, and that was really cool. And you mentioned that's on a beef. That's a really good quality
Right,
steak.
and for the most part, you won't really see too much front shoulders because they usually get blistered up pretty good when
Yeah.
they get shot.
Yep.
For me, the worst place to shoot a deer is in the body.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if this was shot through the body,
Be a lot of loss.
that there would probably be in the can, especially, you know, with the amount of damage that a rifle causes.
So if you have a shot at a neck shot, that's what you prefer.
I
An
prefer
after
the
a
head.
Head
I
shot.
prefer the head, right.
Yep. That's why we're doing this, is to put meat in the freezer.
Right.
And that's what the final product looks like. All the equipment Jay uses is in links below. If you're going to shop through Amazon to get it, please consider using our links. They're affiliate links. Help us make these videos. You can click on this Amazon link right here to shop at Amazon, and stay tuned for the next video in the series showing how to treat venison that's going to be turned into ground meat.